You're listening to UCW Radio.
In your face.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
You know what I mean?
Money to be made in a place like this.
Money never sleeps, pal.
You're crazy. Don't run when you lose. Don't whine when it hurts.
You know what it takes to sell real estate? It takes brass.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
All right, welcome to Money Never Sleeps. This is the show where we talk about anything and everything that impacts the flow of money from around the corner to around the world. And it's been a crazy few weeks with oil going up and down, stocks going up, down, sideways, the market's going crazy, tech, flying, then falling down and flying again. And now you have this deal with Apple and privacy, and look, my opinion on that is I understand that the federal government wants to access the phone to get certain information, and with that said, should Apple go in and do something to get them the information in the phone? Yeah, if the federal government gave them the phone and allowed them to do whatever they need to do to access the information and give it to them, they should. But that's not what the federal government is asking for. They're asking for a back door. And when you open up Pandora's box, you don't know what can happen or where it's going to lead. I'm all for getting in the phone and trying to figure out what's there so that it can help the government out and help the FBI out with their investigation. However, when you start allowing for a backdoor to be created into our mobile units, what's going to be the next step? It's going to that opens up a whole gambit of things that can potentially happen. And again, this is my opinion. I feel for Tim Cook and what he's dealing with. I don't envy his position, but at the same time, I do support what he's standing for. Okay, because he's not just looking at the one situation; he's looking at the big picture. And the big picture is when you open that back door, what happens next? Are you giving an opening for hackers and so on and so forth? You had there was John McAfee. He said he offered to the federal government for him that he can go and create a back door. What's he thinking? He's supposed to be like a security guru. How are you going to create a back door and you're going to open up a whole gambit of things that can happen? Okay, so on the privacy issue, I understand where Apple's coming from. I agree with their I agree with the points. It's just a slippery slope. The federal government has a point. Apple has a point. And somewhere, hopefully, there's going to be some sort of solution that does not compromise the privacy of consumers, of citizens all over the world, not just in the United States, globally. Because if there's a back door, it's not only about the U.S. government or authorities getting in there. You have hackers, you have other nations, other groups, and they're talking about fighting ISIS and everything. What prevents them? They have money to go and have access to this stuff too. So they have to think twice about it, at 3 times, maybe 4 times. All right. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is our fees. To fee or not to fee? That's the big question. As far as raising capital is concerned. Look, whether you're a privately held company or publicly traded company, when you're raising capital, what companies need to be aware of are the pitfalls before it's too late. Because once you get involved and you sign agreements, you can wind up getting really jammed up. Some companies, what they wind up doing, they opt to hire a consultant to assist them with the raising of the capital. So these consultants, They may charge a retainer fee and possibly some type of expense fee in raising the capital for these companies. Now, I personally have heard of ranges from as low as a couple of $1,000s per month to upfront fees of 30, 50 grand a month, plus a monthly retainer fee on top of that, and an expense fee. Keep in mind that when you're signing bringing on these consultants, there is no guarantee that you will get funded, and these retainers are non-refundable. So if you're looking to go do this, and the companies that opt to go this route, the only advice I can give you is that make sure that you know who you're dealing with. Make sure that the consultant you're bringing on is proven that they can actually get this done. If you're paying up front for it, because that's basically what you're doing. You're paying up front for somebody to do this for you. Now, keep in mind, there are reputable consultants out there that do put a lot of effort into assuring that they can get you funded prior to executing a consulting agreement with a company. So basically, they'll go and they'll make sure that you have a viable entity. They'll make sure that they can actually go and get you the funding. But you have other consultants out there that are not so reputable, and that's the truth. A lot of people, consultants that are listening to this, that are those type of people, they're not going to like what I have to say, but this is the reality. Companies are trying to grow, and if you're in a growth phase, whether you're private or public, when you go and you expend that little bit of money, what winds up happening, that little bit of money can be put towards your business and growing. And it can hurt you if you should lose it. So many consultants, they work on a success fee basis, and that makes it easier for a private company to absorb that as opposed to upfront fees, because it's better to go and you give a little more in the back end than giving something up front. Now, as a private company, just be aware of some of these pitfalls and look at the telltale signs that when you're dealing with a consultant, because you can be throwing good money out the window without being fully informed, and you don't want to put yourself in that position. Okay, and that's on the private company route that are looking to raise capital. Okay, in the realm of private equity fundraising, well, that becomes another interesting situation. There are a number of quote-unquote placement agents that require upfront fees and retainers. Again, I've heard them range anywhere from $3,000 a month to $10 grand a month, on top of an upfront fee in some cases, and I've seen these upfront fees range anywhere from $10,000 upwards of $50,000, even $100,000. It all depends on who you're dealing with. The thing about it, again, there's no guarantee that you will be funded. People can tell you anything in the world. The reality is, are you going to be able to get funded? That's the big question. Again, there are reputable and solid placement agents out there that will work on a success fee basis. They will go and get things done, and they will work on the success fee basis because they, if they take you on, they know that they're going to be able to get you funded. They evaluate whether they can secure this funding or not. So before they even do that, they know what they're getting involved in, and that's a better situation. Granted, there may be some minor upfront fees, and that is acceptable, but that's minimal compared to these big retainers demanded by some groups. I mean, it floors me. They're looking for this money, monthly, and they want you to sign an agreement that you have to go and lock in with them for 3-6 months, or even some cases a year, and you have to go and pay them X amount of dollars a month, whether they perform or not. Now, isn't that amazing, whether they perform or not? So you have no out there. Okay, so that becomes problematic, and that's why you have to be careful who you deal with. Okay, again, if a group is working on a success fee basis, that's a better situation for a private equity firm that's looking to raise capital. But again, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But if you are a private equity firm and you're looking to raise capital, and you may be a small one that you're looking to get something done, just be aware. Some of these placement agents, they're looking for the fees. Public companies now. That's another story altogether. They have other tools to assist them with raising capital. Granted, companies that trade on mid-cap and higher, they have more than enough legitimate sources to raise capital. They have the big boys out there and more than enough private equity and everything that'll step up to help them to grow. But what about the micro-cap arena? The small companies that trade on the BB or the QB or that are trading on small exchanges. Now, these smaller companies with minimal revenue and assets, in most cases, leverage their stock to arrange funding for their company. Now, this is when the fun begins for micro-cap companies, and I've heard so many horror stories. My God, but it happens. This happens all the time. Look, if they align with the wrong group, they can get trapped in some sort of pipe deal, a discounted convertible note deal, straight discounted stock deals in some places, and the list goes on and on. The beauty of this is that the consultant that comes in and arranges this, well, they get their upfront fee and their retainer fee. That's already locked in. How do you like that? Okay, and since there's no shortage of vulture capital, I say vulture capital because these are the groups that'll go and take advantage of the desperation. Okay, not saying that it's illegal, no, but it's a moral thing as far as what I'm looking at. If you're looking to help build a company and make it work, again, if you were lending someone money, it would be it would be probably under the usury guideline. Okay, so but anyway. I don't recommend anyone doing those type of deals. But you have those vulture capital guys laying in wait to do a discounted stock deal. Basically when a consultant sets it up, doing that their job isn't that hard at that point because you have a number of people out there that'll do that. Now let's go behind the curtain. Okay, let's see what the great Oz is doing. How do you like that? Discount the stocks. Well. What that means is that more than likely that the investors that are going in to do these deals, there's a good possibility they'll be blowing out of the stock smoothly, probably prior to the funding actually taking place, which is interesting. They'll go and arrange for the placement of the stock. They have it. They get it at anywhere 40-50% discount to what is trading on the bid, not on the offer. What is trading on the bid. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, with convertible notes, well, those investors, they're pretty shrewd. And depending on how the funding was made, they may demand a yield on these notes, and that yield could be high. That yield can be 10, 12%, 15%. They can go borderline to 20% if that's the deal they're making. They're not going to go past the usury guideline, but they'll get pretty close. So what happens when you can't pay with cash? Your deal doesn't go the way you want it to go, and you're short of cash. What happens? Well, guess what? Of course, you have publicly traded stock at your disposal, so you go issue more stock to meet your obligations. And what happens the next quarter, and the next quarter, and the next quarter? Then you start getting behind the 8-ball, and you could potentially lose control of your company because you're giving it away. I've seen it plenty of times. Believe it or not, it happens more often than you think. So that's why you have to be careful with the type of deals that you're looking to make in regards to funding. Okay, again, this isn't a bashing show. I'm not bashing, consultants. There are a lot of consultants out there that do their job and do it well, and I appreciate those people. I love working with them because they're professionals. But there are others that don't do that. Again, I'm just shedding some light on reality. As I mentioned in the beginning, again, there are consultants out there that do what they're supposed to do, and those consultants are the ones you want to seek out if you're looking to raise capital and you want to get a consultant. Not every company gets a consultant; they'll work directly with the funding source. Okay, but when you find a consultant that's willing to work on a success fee basis, you know what? You want to speak to them, you want to find out, and if you have the opportunity to work with them, work with them. Again, you may get a minimal upfront expense fee while getting, and giving more on the back end to them, but that expense fee could be for anything, and again, it can be maybe $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, whatever it's going to be, but that's well worth it because you're not dealing with a monthly retainer. So that upfront expense fee is acceptable. But then you have those consultants out there, which I would avoid at all costs, that are chasing retainers more than deals. They don't care what you do. If you're going to give them a retainer, they're going to work on your deal. That's it. Okay, I don't care whether it's a private deal, a publicly traded company, or if you're a newly launched private equity firm. If you're going to give them a retainer, they're going to do the work. Doesn't mean that they're going to perform, but they're going to take your money. Okay, and you have those. I mean, those are retainer collectors. They collect retainers and they live a good life. They live a good life. Not that they're performing for people. Just hey, take a look at the movie American Hustle. Okay, and then you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. Look, they just make it harder for smaller public and private companies to sift through the nonsense to get to the reality of the situation and actually align with someone that's going to help them build. Because the point of the matter is, as a consultant, if you're helping a company, the better they do, the better it is for you. The better they do, the better it is for you. So the more they grow, the more business you're going to get because you'll continue to be consult with them and basically your actions are helping for them to grow. Okay, so in your pursuit of raising capital, just be aware of who you bring on board to help you to achieve your fundraising goals. And to make a long story short here, a better route would be partnering with an actual private equity firm. You'll align with a private equity firm that can work with you. And that's usually a better situation because now you're bringing in a partner that'll work with you. And again, you have consultants that actually bring companies to private equity for funding. They do this, they do it often. But again, when you're working on the success fee, on a success fee basis, it's easier for a company that's struggling as it is to pull out and make stuff happen. And again, guys, there are solid performers. The consultants that are out there that do the right thing and they continue to do it. Okay, so I commend those guys. Just makes it hard for people like that to actually go and build and grow and because when you're a private, public, whatever kind of company you are, you're getting called, especially a public company, you're getting called constantly. People wanting to work with you. Doesn't matter what you do, they want to work with you because they're looking for that retainer fee. And what happens, those people that get called, those companies that get called, they wind up getting jaded. They wind up, putting their shield up because you have so many sharks out there that are just like, they're circling. So, as a private company, as a publicly traded company, and even as an up and coming private equity firm, just be aware of who you're dealing with. Okay, just be aware who you're dealing with. And again, for those companies, I would definitely go the private equity route and go reach out to a private equity firm and explore the possibilities. Most private equity firms, they have certain investment guidelines. And basically, either they have the capital on hand or they have the ability to go get the capital to structure the deal and make an investment in your company. But just make sure you have all your duckies in order. You have your business plan, you have your pro formas, you have your financials going back a few years, and you have certain information that they're going to need in order for them to make a decision. Okay, but for any private equity firm, again, be aware of this. They may see, 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 2,000 deals a year. And at the end of the day, just like in the original Wall Street, they only pick a few. So you'll have a company that may sift through 500,000 deals a year, and they may pick 5, 10 tops that they're going to do deals with. So just make sure that you have all your duckies in order so that you don't waste your time. So when you go to someone, you don't waste their time, and it just makes it easier all around. Okay, and if you want additional information on private equity and other financial topics, you can go to falconglobalacquisitions.com. That's falconglobalacquisitions.com. There's information on there that'll help you. Basically, there are a lot of great things going on with Falcon Global Acquisitions that you can check into. They are involved in private equity. So if you have a company and you're interested in speaking with someone, just go there and reach out to them and reach out to the company and see where it goes. Okay, but anyway, on that note, again, just in closing, this wasn't a bashing show. It was more of just a clarity and be aware show. Okay, today. All right, but we are going to come back, and I am going to actually do a show because I want to speak about Twitter. I want to speak about Facebook. I want to speak about what's going on in the tech world and where we're headed, because the reality is things are moving very quickly, and it's not about social media. It's about the media of everything. Okay, and it's becoming an interesting playing field where you have companies that can't get it together. Like Twitter it's an amazing tool, but the management can't get it together. I can go and figure it out. I can go and make Twitter work. There's no question that this is what we can do. We can make Twitter work. But they're not doing what they should be doing for their shareholders at this point, and that's unfortunate. Okay, Jack Dorsey, a great guy, but he may have way too many things on his plate, and you need someone that's going to go in there and structure this or restructure it, put it together, and make it work. And it's not about changing. And again, I'm going to go into this on the next show, but with Twitter, it's not about changing what they have. It's about adding on to it, enhancing it. Okay, and there's a solution for all this. You look at Facebook now. If you go on there, they added, instead of just likes, which the like was a better situation. Now what they're doing, you can like, you can love, or you can have an opinion about something, and you can check those things off. Yeah, it breeds conversation, but I think that may shove some people off, because if somebody puts down a post, they post something, and they don't get anyone loving it or liking it, or people start making negative comments about it, that can create a lot of fire. So I don't know how good of an idea that was. They should have just stood with the likes. Anyway, we're going to go into this again on the next show. But until then, I hope you guys have a fantastic trading day, trading week as well. And, keep an eye on the deal with oil. Be careful with that because, that is fluctuating up and down so rapidly, and it's so unstable at this point. Yeah, over the course of of 2016, we'll probably see oil at 40, 45, that type of thing. I don't see it going any higher than that at this point. It doesn't make any sense for it to do that. It's a supply and demand issue. Period. The end. Unfortunately, people, oil companies, a lot of oil companies are going bankrupt and are going to be going bankrupt, and that's unfortunate. These are the smaller guys, and I know this because I speak to them myself. These are the smaller guys that are going out, and it's unfortunate. Okay, but again, just be aware when you're looking at oil. when you're looking at oil itself, oil stocks, things of that nature. Just be aware. Just stick with the guys. If you like oil, just stick with the companies that have great balance sheets, and that's a key thing, because that means that these are the guys that are going to gobble everyone else up. Okay, so just be aware that. Look for the balance sheets. Look for that strong company. Okay. Anyway, on that note, have a great trading week, trading day, and we'll be back with you on the next show for Money Never Sleeps. Thank you.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
All opinions expressed by Louis Velazquez on the Money Never Sleeps radio show and its website are solely his opinions and do not reflect the opinions of the UCW radio show or their parent company or affiliates, and may have been previously disseminated by him on television, radio, internet, or another medium. You should not treat any opinion expressed by him as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of his opinion. His opinions are based upon information he considers to be reliable, but neither the UCW radio show nor its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries warrant its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. The UCW radio show, Louis Velazquez, its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries are not under any obligation to update or correct any information provided on the radio show or on the website. His statements and opinions are subject to change without notice. No part of his compensation from the UCW radio show is related to the specific opinions he expresses. Please read the full disclaimer on MoneyNeverSleepsRadio.com.